Welcome to a new explanation about frame by frame animation. For this video, I will make a variation of a walk. We already made the walk cycle, and after the walk cycle we did the run cycle. And now I'm going to make another cycle, but this time will be a sneak walk cycle, okay? I'm using the same book as we used before. This author suggests here 3 types of sneaks. We have the traditional sneak, the backward sneak, and the tiptoe sneak. We are going to work on the first one, okay? And we are going to recreate this one. So let's just highlight the more important things here, so I won't be too exhaustive. Let's just divide this animation into the main keys as we did before, so it's easier to understand and to recreate. First pose, let's look at the contact. We have here the contact with the right leg, both feet on the ground, as you can see, tiptoe here, tiptoe here. This is the contact for the right leg, and then we have a very interesting passing position. Look, this passing position, and we saw before other passing positions where the legs are actually both more or less aligned, but one is passing the other. But here that doesn't happen, but that's something here that will happen, is that the weight of the body is coming all to this foot, okay? And then the other contact, okay? So this is a very simple approach of it, but these are the main keys that we are going to draw. So let's start with these 2 key poses, okay? I already created here a new project. I have here my guidelines. So this first pose, I'm stretching my foot, and I'm starting with the left foot as being the contact foot. Here the weight is still in my right leg, and the arms here, they are just being used to keep the balance of the body, okay? So they are not going to go back and forth. What we will have coming back and forth is only the entire torso, including the torso and the arms, okay? They are all going back and forth. And I'm putting the hands open, and since I have my hands open, I'm actually making more visible the fingers, because if you take a look here, if the arms are open, it should look frightened. So I'm just making it more obvious that the hand is open instead of just like this, okay? So I'm making this like showing some extra cautious. Okay. Next pose, I will do this passing position, okay? So all the weight into that leg, and I'm putting my torso, I'm leading the body forward and putting all the weight into that left leg. And what I'm doing here, I'm keeping this foot here in the same place. I will move my character on the axis, okay? Because to make it in the same spot as we did with walk cycle and the run cycle, here is a bit, there's a little trick to make it look better. The difference is that the moments where he actually moves from one point to another are not constant as the walk. So if it's walking, the velocity is kind of constant, right? Or even the running, so it's faster but it's constant. Here the character would be something like here, and then it goes forward, and then it lifts one leg and then goes further again. So you see that this is not constant. There are differences depending on what the character is making. So that's why I will just make it, I will first consider the feet that should be in the same pose. So this one should be in the same place, okay? And after putting this foot on the ground, then this will be my contact foot. So the next pose here, I'll make the other contact would be again coincident with this pose here. See that my arms are not changing that much, they are just more of the same. And look at this foot here, it's exactly in the same spot, so it will move, right? So body laying back here, body laying further, the head, and now look at the head and where the character is looking. This is the first time that I'm actually putting some eyes on the character, but it has a reason, because in a sneaky walk, so he's trying to not make any noise and he's trying to not be caught. So here, while he's putting the foot on the ground, he looks into the ground to see where he's putting the foot. And when the foot is in the comfortable position and he knows that he's not making any noises, he will look forward to see if he can continue to walk, see? And then again, let's see where we are going to put our foot. And then again, I will make now the other pose for this leg. Here we go. Arms in the same spot, the head looking further, okay? Here are our key poses, okay? So now let's work on the other poses, because this is not enough. The sneak walking, it has to be slow. And for example, when we did the walk cycle, we did it with 8 frames, and when we did the run cycle, again, we did it with 8 frames. Here, you can also do it in 8 frames, but you have to choose which poses you will keep. And this will be a little bit more delicate to choose which pose we are keeping. We will have to blend some of the poses, so it will work better. Since it's a bit more complex, I think it's better now to recreate a good approach, one approach that we are satisfied with, and then you can try to make it last the amount of frames as needed, okay? Let's keep it simple, but let's also try to make it look good, smooth enough to be a sneak walk. Okay, so next poses. For these intermediate poses, let's check here our reference book. And let's look here, because we have these poses in flipped, but we have these poses. And now we are going to make the poses between this one and this one. So this means that we want to create these poses from here to here, okay? We can do it frame by frame, so this and this and this and this and this and this and this, or we can divide these two poses here in the middle and create here this breakdown. And I will create then this pose, so the character is in balance, and the weight of the body is on this foot here, but this one also has some roll supporting the weight, and the arms are aligned with the body. Remember, the arms are always aligned with the body. We just see some difference here. So when the body is laying back, the arms go a bit up. So again, to make that equilibrium. And our head is looking in front. I will now divide these into the same number of drawings that we have here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Okay, in blank keyframes, and the breakdown will be here. So I have my body straight, my torso straight, I mean, the weight divided by the 2 legs, okay? And since I have this breakdown here, I will now create the in-betweenings between these two. So slowly I will bring this character from this pose to this pose here. I will keep my character in the higher position that we defined here. I will keep it there for 2 frames, and only the next frame, and notice that my character now is here, in the next frame I will bring it down. And the reason why I'm doing this is because our character is being cautious about moving his body, and he doesn't want to make any noise, right? So he's hanging up in there the maximum time as possible, and then it comes to this pose, still leaving a bit the head behind, so we can give it that delay. All right, and now the poses from here to here. There we go. Okay. Now this intermediate pose. Okay. Now let me just delete this. We can define a bit better the shoulders. I'm not defining the shoulders, but it will look better if we did a bit the shoulders. All right. So between this pose and this pose, Now let's work on the second part. From here to here, we will need to be in balance over this left leg. So let's create here some space to make that. Let's break apart again these two. I'll bring this one further. So we'll have to pass this leg here. We will have to pass it further, see? So this is the back leg, so we have to keep this back leg here, and this front leg it has to pass, okay? So I'm keeping the contact foot firm on the ground, and I'm bringing the right leg further. All right. And this is also a equilibrium pose. All right. So let's now make the in-betweens between these two. In this pose here, I'm lifting the right leg because this leg will overpass the other. So it's not in contact with the ground anymore. As you can see, I'm leaning the body forward, but the head, I'm bringing it backwards, okay? Because he's going to make this pose and the head here is aligned with the body. So I'm still bringing the body further, but the leg, the head starts to come up. And here I have this intermediate pose where I'm again bringing the body into a straight position, and I'm bringing this foot and I'm actually giving this little curve to make it seem a little bit more loose. All right. And now from this pose to this, okay, what will happen here is that I'm going to lean the body back and the head is also backwards, and look at the eyes again. So I'm asking you to look at the eyes because it's how we rotate the head, right? That's the important thing here. So I will look again to the floor, and now I'm bending the foot here because I'm going to come to this pose here where I'm just holding the body, the weight of the body with the tip toe. So I'm starting to bend the foot here, and I bring the body back. All right, let's check. Let's play it slower. So everything here is working together. Notice that the tiptoe here is giving this idea of not making any noises on the ground. This foot here is flat on the ground for just a couple of frames. You can put this foot always bent if you want, and it will increase even more the sneak effect, let's say. What I mean with this is that it will be even more silent. It's being extra cautious when you keep your hair always in its tiptoes. It also works with this foot flat on the ground and give it more stability. So it will depend on the type of animation that you are creating, of course. And again, the head, look at the head. The head is looking down when he's putting the foot on the ground, but he's looking forward when is stable on the ground, okay? So what we need now to do is just make the other part of the animation. So I will just copy these frames here and I will place them here, and then I will swap the legs. From now on would be the right leg, the contact foot. Okay, let's see our final result, or at least the result so far. Okay, just clean here some lines. Now fix here where the contact foot is in each pose, because we don't want it to slide while he's walking. And what I'm doing with the arms is keeping the equilibrium, so the arms are coming a bit more backwards when we straighten the leg in front, so they are not working independently one of the other, so they are always kind of parallel, and they are now making the balance of the animation according to the leg that is coming into the front. So they are coming backwards twice, one for each leg, okay? And let's not, we are seeing this in slow motion, and we don't need any more frames. Of course that if you add frames it will look smoother. If you want to give it more frames, just take a look at the reference here, and between this pose and this pose you will add one, because as I was telling you before, the velocity of this movement should not be constant as it is when it's a walk cycle or a run cycle. In this case, if you want to break apart more between these poses, you have to consider these timings here. See, it depends on the work that you are doing. But if you want to incorporate this into a game, for example, this is already too many frames, okay? And I think that a better challenge for you after doing this is actually trying to find the key poses to maintain if you want to convert this animation into half, for example, okay? As we did with the walk, we just pick the main poses to keep it with the 8 cycle animation, okay? So here there are some poses that you will blend, and a selection of the poses that you want to keep, and of course the timings when they will happen. For example, you can blend some of these also, but you still need to keep this pose for more time than between this and this, okay? Because between this and this, maybe you can drop these 2, and here you cannot drop 2. If you drop 2 here, the timing will not be nice. So that's a good challenge actually. But for now, keep this. You can make this exercise first and then try to make it shorter. So wish you good luck, and I hope you enjoy it.